All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Market Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Peter. How you doing today?
Carlos, I am great. Doing good this morning. How are you feeling?
Feeling good, man. You can't complain. Kids are home. Didn't have to do all the running around that we do every morning to get them out of school.
Oh,
But yeah,
how come?
things getting out of the house. Jewish holiday, big Jewish holiday today and tomorrow. So happy holidays to our Jewish viewers. If you're watching, I don't know if
Oh,
they're out celebrating or doing something, but if you're watching and you're Jewish, happy holidays. So I live in a big Jewish town, Teaneck. I mean, it is huge here. So the
okay.
districts here are closed for sure. Yep.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah.
Wow.
Let's take a look here, friends. Let's get right into our quick look at our gappers list, then economic calendar, and then we'll hop into all of that. Right now, US economic calendar, we have a ton of stuff. I'm sorry, gappers list. We got a couple of things in the green this morning, not a whole lot. We've been seeing this list massively be overtaken by a lot of Chinese tickers today. Chinese tickers are on the other side of the fence. They're gapping down for the most part. And it's just a lot going on, man, around the world. Middle East issues. We got politics happening. I mean, Peter, you name it, it is happening this month. Strikes at the port. Puff Daddy just insanely creating problems for everybody. See Elon Musk tweeting on that now. That guy. It's it's too early to rant. We're gonna skip this. Let's get to U.S. economic calendar. But we're gonna jump on. We're gonna come back to that, Peter. We'll come back to that. All right. Too early. Too
Yeah,
early.
I don't think that's affecting the stocks, but it's entertaining, I suppose. It's sort of like all the politics going on. Lots of political news right now as the elections get closer, but they're not immediately having a market impact. It's only after elections occur that we'll start to see market impact. Anyways, but the economic calendar does have an impact. The only thing so far this morning, we had the initial jobless claims come out pretty much on target. 222,000, depending what number you look at, was the forecast. 225 was the reported number. So, close enough that it seems to be in line. Later this morning at 9:45, we do have the S&P PMI, and then we have the ISM Services PMI coming out at 10, as well as factory orders. And then we've got this weird, I don't know, I guess they're doing some sort of conversational interview between Kashkari and Bostic later at 10:40. I don't exactly know it seems like it's like some moderated discussion that they're having with each other. That might yield some interesting outcomes. I mean, the Fed chair, Fed speakers recently have been supporting direction, but have increasingly been saying how they're most concerned about inflation and wanting to make sure inflation is being managed. So there was a recent speech by another Fed speaker who was anyways indicating some levels of concern, but it's not giving us any clear indication as to what's going to be happening with the interest rates, which of course what the market is most interested in. We will only find that out, as we've mentioned before, I think it's 2 days after the election, right? Is in November is when the next rate decision is. So November will be very, very busy. There'll be lots of stuff happening, of course, with the election and then a rate change and all sorts of stuff. So, but anyways, for today, this morning is where everything's loaded. 9:45, 10 a.m., 10:40. Keep those times in mind. All right, as Carlos was saying, we got to look at the gappers list. There's stuff on the gappers. There's a few things that weren't on the gappers that we'll want to talk about as well. So there were some actual, sort of business news that we could talk about. So we'll get to those in due time. Let's start with the gappers.
Yep, absolutely, friends. Let's start here with our gappers list this morning. Leading the way, as you can see here, is RZLB. So let's see what this is about. Just starting to get going. Looks like 8:30. Got some volume, about 182,000 shares traded. popped it up over 34% right now, 35%. So again, lower price stock really moving aggressive here. The float on this thing is actually not that low. It's 60,000. I'm sorry, 60 million is what I'm showing. So not heavily a low flow. Any news, Peter? I know this just happened, so you might not have it on deck there. But
Yep. Oh,
yeah, got some
absolutely.
movement this morning.
This company's called Resolve AI, and big news for them that they announced a partnership with Microsoft to drive an AI-powered commerce solution. So that's big news. Obviously, when you partner with one of the Magnificent Seven, that usually gets you some attention, and that's what they're getting this morning. Whether it's tradable or not, tough to tell, Carlos. I don't. I think we've seen this before. I know I have never traded it. Volume is, well, I mean the volume. Whoops, I just RZLV. There we go. Is actually pretty low. So maybe it's going to pick up since this announcement just came out a few minutes ago. Let's we'll see what happens. But so far, as you said, it's moving nicely up. $3. Well,
Yeah.
$2.60, 37%.
Yeah, yeah, hard to borrow right now, as you can see here, Interactive Broker. So I think it's worth keeping an eye on it. Let's see where this goes. It's our risky stock so far of the day. So RZLV, we'll put that on here again. It looks like it wants to go higher here. Let's see if it can continue to break out. All right, next on here we have this is Wheeler, right? Wheeler Real Estate, which again doesn't trade very well. This has made our list a few times in the last month, and you can tell why, specifically in the places where it's been gapping up and somehow getting above 200,000 shares traded. Again, these things don't trade very well. Even this pre-market activity has 1.2 million shares traded, but yeah, I don't see anything great on it. Peter, yourself?
No, nothing worth talking about on this one.
Yeah, yeah, we'll move right on. Again, just not a good one. And this one, the flow is 188,000. I mean, that is extremely low. AK OCO, oh no, OCO, well, OKLO, right? OKLO. So
Ochoco.
uh this is on here. It is up 7%, 251,000 shares traded. I mean, it just looks so bad. I won't be touching this. Peter, I know this thing has gapped up. I forget the news why this thing has been moving over the last couple of days, but it's here up again. Anything exciting on it?
They had announced a week ago or so an agreement with the Department of Energy. This is, I guess it's a utility services company. It says regulated electric is the department, so I assume it's a utility. But I've never heard of it. I don't know what part of the U.S. they operate in, but I assume this is just continued momentum from that move because I don't see anything new. So yeah, I think it's probably not that interesting.
Yeah, we're moving on to the next one here. SMR is right over here. And this one, we know very well. New scale comes up in our list here and there. This morning they're up 2.5, 391,000 shares traded. I don't, it's tradable. I don't like the way it trades. I don't like the price action on it. Volume seems to be lighter than what I'm looking for that kind of explosion on the 5 minute ORB. But today, day looks good. Like if it wants to break out of here, hitting 13 here a couple of times this morning, has done that before in the past. And obviously, that's a place where it's seen a lot of resistance. Peter, do you like this one today? I know it's not one of our favorites for sure.
No, it's sort of been moving with some uranium stocks recently. The news was it just last week, Carlos? We were talking about the 3 Mile Island plant reopening.
Yeah.
Caused a surge in uranium stocks, nuclear plays. But I think this is just sort of like a continuation news play. Probably not going to be that interesting.
Oh, I'll mute. I am with
Yeah.
you there. We'll leave that one alone there. Let's head on. That's our gap up list. I mean, not a lot came off of that. We had our ZLV, which looks interesting today. So I have that on my risky pile there. Let's see if that can get explosive and break out of 10 back to 11. Peter, as far as the gap up or anything up this morning, what's on your list?
Yeah, it's a big gap down day, so there's very little that's gapping up. The one thing that's noticeable is Nvidia is gapping up. The semis are a little mixed this morning. Nvidia, AMD, and Micron are the only three in that sector that are gapping up. Nvidia more than the other two. And it's got its usual volume. It's looking good this morning, sitting up at 121. It's in play as always. No particular news, but it just it's doing its Nvidia thing.
Yeah,
So
it sure is doing its thing here. And I'll have it on my list today, right? So we will put NVIDIA on there. There it is, NVIDIA. NVDAD. No, no, no. NVIDIA. There we go. NVDA. Okay. Good volume. 6.3 up 1.2. That is looking nice. You did mention AMD as well. Lighter volume. I've been sticking with NVIDIA a lot these days, but AMD has done some really good moves too, especially when there's news and the whole sector's moving. You could trade either one. I mean, shoot, even MU guys has had some really great trading days. Not yesterday, but if you look at the days before when we had this beautiful gap up, we gave it almost all back already. But look at the drop here. These days were all really nice, especially starting in the morning. See a lot of volatility. So it was great to trade. Might just be coming back down to its regular type of trading. But man, this was a lot of fun here in the last couple of days. All right, now if we look at our gap down list, this looks massive. I mean, everything is on here today. So there is a ton. But if you closely look between some of these tickers, it is all China. Well, not all of it, but a lot of it is China. Billy, Becky, Tao, XPEF, Baidu, Neo, Futu, JD. All the stocks we've been talking about in the last week and a half or so, Lee, Baba, PDD, they're all on here, right? So let's start with that. Looking at our Chinese tickers, I mean, Baba is what I've been watching. So I've been sticking to Baba and PDD. You can pick either one, guys. They're all in play the last couple of days. So I'm going to add Baba to the list. Down this morning, volume 2.9. So I like that. So Baba will be on the list. And then usually I keep PDD on my secondary. Those are my two favorite ones out of the Chinese camp there. But you can also look at JD and some other ones. Peter, I know you're not a big Chinese stock trader, but have you been dabbling in any of this lately? No,
no, I've been keeping an
no
eye on
dabbling.
them, but yesterday I found the usual. They didn't move all that well. My regular stocks gave me better opportunity personally. This is more what I was expecting, by the way, out of the movement. With the markets continue to be closed in Shanghai and in Hong Kong, we're now seeing a little bit of weakness in these stocks. So I think this is going to be sort of a pretty small range, an inside day. Baba, JD, they're down a little bit, but probably not going to move all that much. I was still surprised by their move up yesterday, so we'll see what happens. The most interesting will probably be on Friday when I think I'm pretty sure that the Chinese markets are reopening on their Friday, which means that trading will be done by the time, Carlos, you and I are talking tomorrow. But that should, we'll see which direction they go in at that time, because they obviously closed before the holiday. On a big upswing, right, with some record gains. So we'll see what happens. Does that continue, or does it slide backwards? But for today, it's probably going to be pretty quiet on all of these offerings.
Yeah, yeah.
Salim's asking why they're
Um,
closed. Yeah, just a reminder. It's the celebration of the founding of the People's Republic of China. So it's basically the equivalent to their Independence Day, their July 4th. But they have a 3-day holiday instead of just one.
yeah, yeah. Um, let's see. Let's see what else is on here, guys. So that's for the Chinese tickers. I got Baba, I got PDD on deck, and then I'm gonna try to go through some of these. I have hymns on here. They're down 11.3. We've seen the stock gap up quite a bit with news, without news, and it doesn't trade very well. So I'm not a big fan of it. I don't like the way the volume is on it. It seems very light. So for my strategy, I won't be watching it. Peter, anything of interest this morning?
I don't really see any news on it. This is one of a weird stock, right? Hims and hers. I don't know. It's like a pharmaceutical, healthcare, retail. I don't know. They're in household and personal products. I think people knew them. They make skin creams, and I don't know what the heck's going on. But there's no real news.
Okay. We'll leave it alone. And then I see Tiger on here, which is another one that again doesn't really trade very well, but it is in play. Look at it yesterday in the last couple of days. This thing has been really taking off. This is Up FinTech. Peter, and we missed this pop. Yes, I didn't recognize this. What's the news on it if you have it? If you don't, we'll try to look it up. But seems like something's going on there.
This is a Singaporean holding company. I do not know, to be honest. No
Yeah.
idea.
Yep. All good, all
I got
good.
nothing.
We'll head. Yeah, yeah, no, and listen, trade well. I mean, even now, I don't like it. It is in play, 1.8 million shares traded. It is down 8.8. It's got everything going for it. We do have shares for short on it. It looks good today, though. Maybe today could be the difference between how it normally trades, as you can see here on the daily, and over the last couple of days, we've seen a very clear increase in volume, especially yesterday, 73 million shares traded. Looks like. Um, let's add it to a secondary at least. Today could be the day. This could be our stock for today. So we'll add it on here. It is active. My history has not been great on it, but we'll see if that can change. All right, let's take a look at Gappers list. What else is on here? Going through some of the Chinese tickers. We have Wolf. Wolf is on here today, down 6.2, 247,000 shares traded, a little bit light on the pre-market volume. Peter, usually when we see this, there's some kind of news, but the gap down doesn't seem that significant. So it might just not be anything. What's the latest and greatest?
Yeah, I think it's just moving with the market all overall. They did get a downgrade. Mizuho downgraded them to an underperform, really slashing their price. Interestingly, they had a price of $17, slashed their target price to $8, which is pretty much where it's sitting right now. So, yeah, I mean, this is a smaller semiconductor company. I mean, smaller, it's still $1 billion company, but I guess that type of analyst change can have a bigger impact than if an analyst changed perspective on, one of the bigger, Nvidias or Micron or something like that. So.
Yeah, yeah. Skipping through a bunch of these again, the foot to the Neos, the JDs of the world. So I'm going to go straight down to NVAX. NVAX is at the bottom of this list. They are down at 3.6 this morning, 236,000 shares traded. Had a decent day yesterday, going from opening up around 12.33 all the way up to about 15.25 and back down a little bit. So had a decent day, increase in volume compared to the last couple of trading days. But again, just not a whole lot happening as far as today goes. We're not sure there's anything to add on here, but I don't like it the way it is right now.
Yeah, it's it used to be so much fun to trade, right? I mean, this was like a darling of the COVID era, and all right. Sorry, I was trying to click on some news for it, and I got a news page in German, so I have no idea what I'm reading. Um, uh, uh, yes, it's like the Berliner newspaper came up. I'm like, translate to English, please. I have no idea what's going on. Anyways, I mean, there are some positive reports on Novavax that they've got some drugs in the pipeline, expected that they should be doing well going forward, but that's just speculation. I mean, right now they're sort of gapping with the market. I mean, the whole market is down, right? If you look at the SPY and the Qs, I mean, they're down. I mean, about 1/3%. Obviously, Novavax down 3.5% is more than that, but I don't, nothing particularly unique going on with it this morning.
All right, there you go. None to see here for right now, friends. Well, before we do that, Peter, anything that's gapping down that you have on your list today?
Yeah, a couple with news. Some of our favorite stocks. Apple seems to be that the big corporate executives are taking some money and running. So yesterday we talked about how Michael Dell took a little over $1.2 billion worth of a stock redemption there out of his options. It looks like Tim Cook of Apple has done the same. Much more modest number though. It's only 50 million. I mean, 50 million. Come on, that's nothing. So,
That's
but
nothing.
he
Yeah.
but he did have a redemption there. So he took some money. Needed I don't know. Maybe he's buying a yacht. I'm not sure what, but He did sell some stock. Um, Tesla is another one that's on my list. We're still waiting for the big news out of Tesla, of course, with the robo taxi event coming up. But in the meantime, they did have to announce recalls, pretty significant recall actually. I'm very surprised to see the stock doing as well as it is. It was 27,000 different Cybertrucks are being recalled to fix their rear view camera. So not a huge problem, right? Like it's not a safety issue or anything. It's just the rear view camera, which is more of a convenience than anything. Although I got to imagine the rear visibility out of a Cybertruck is probably not that good. I can't picture doing
Hmm.
the old arm over the seat to look backwards to drive backwards in a Cybertruck. You're probably using the camera or nothing, right? I don't know. I've never been in one, but that's just what I picture. But anyway, so that's that. Bad news. On the good news side, they actually seen almost a doubling of the Cybertruck orders in the last 3 months. So more people are buying them, but they've got they do have sort of a big sort of recall, anyways, on them. They they did have sort of an upgrade an upgrade on the stock based on the fact that they were promising lower interest rates on anybody that's financing a Cybertruck. So that's another piece of good news. One way or the other, Tesla has been moving this week. It's been one of the better trading stocks, in my opinion. It had some good movement
Yeah.
yesterday, sort of off the open. Later in the day was not that good, but at the open it did trade well again, as it usually does. And I think we should potentially keep an eye on it. The other one that was on my radar, because a few people in the room were mentioning it yesterday, was Meta. I'm just still surprised to see Meta on the daily hanging out at this all-time high level, and it really, you can see how narrow the range has been over the last 2 days. But it feels like it's got to break out of this range at some point. Right now, it's looking like it might break to the bottom, especially with the market looking as weak as it is. But something's got to break. You can't stay in this tight range for long, and if it does, there's a lot of room for it to move. So we'll just have to see what happens. There's no news on it, no company news that I've seen, but hey, maybe Zuckerberg's going to cash some shares, and everyone else, all the other kids are doing it. Maybe he'll be next. But that's just me creating rumors. No fact to that. Last but not least, on the gap upside, one of the rare green stocks this morning is Microsoft. Microsoft's been just an odd beast to try and trade. It's been pretty quiet on the news front as well. So it used to be that Microsoft had all the news, but now I'm going back a long time. Like it seems like there's news about them, but not big enough news for them. Like we talked earlier about Resolve, right? That they've got a partnership with Microsoft. So, they're in the game, they're playing, but it never seems to be like big news about the company that moves Microsoft. It just sort of quietly goes about doing its thing. It's actually been moving downwards on average over the last 2 weeks. But the moves have just never been big enough to get super excited about it. So that's what I'm watching, Carlos.
All right, there it is. Um, uh, let's take a look here. So right now, my list: Nvidia, Baba for the most part, and then of course we'll look at some of the stuff you mentioned, Pierre, like Meta, Apple, and Microsoft are always good to keep an eye on. Microsoft looks good today. I like the daily on Microsoft. That's been nice there. Usually not a whole lot of volume, but look at this daily, how well it's been trading up and down, up and down. Not the easiest trading stock, but we'll see what it does today. All right, friends. Let's go to you guys. See what you guys like this morning. We'll start here in our chat. Microsoft Def Cross. What is a Def Cross? I don't think I know that strategy or that signal. So I have to learn that Def Cross from Microsoft. All right, we'll take a look at that. You know what that is,
Yeah,
Peter?
that's when a big moving average crosses a lower moving average, usually to the downside, right? So they call the death
Mm-hmm.
cross. So if I look at the daily right now, it looks like the 200 moving
Yeah.
average is coming in contact with the 50. So it shows that actually you can see the two lines that you've got on your chart there, Carlos, coming into a
Yeah.
point here, right? So
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
that's often that's considered a bearish signal. As it starts to move below that 200 moving average, you could get a pop lower. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure that I always buy into that. I mean, it's actually a good signal maybe in a larger time frame, but if you're intraday trading, it doesn't
Hmm.
mean it's going to happen today necessarily, right? So just be careful with it.
Right,
Don't
right.
make assumptions on it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right, friends. Let's take a look here. What else we have? So Microsoft is good. We have that on deck. Taking a look at our chat this
It's
morning.
a drop.
I see a couple of Chinese. It's a trap. I see a couple of
It's a
Chinese
drop.
tickers. Becky, Baba, PDD on there. Again, I'm going with Baba and PDD. There's a ton of them. Someone mentioned Neo in our YouTube chat. Yes, you can also look at this one. This one's always got volume, right? It's always got 4 million shares traded, and it's not doing anything. So the volume is not strange to Neo. But I think out of all the Chinese tickers, this is probably the toughest one to trade. Very algo, very algo type of trading on it. So be careful on Neo. There's better Chinese tickers out there, especially during this time. If you look at JD, you look at PDD. These are trading a lot better. At least, actually, the least of my favorites are the Lees, the XBEV, the ones that have not been trading so well. Are not ideal. But again, pick your favorites on this. They're all in play. We'll see what they do here in the next couple of days. They had a massive move up. I mean, some of these stocks up over 26%. It's been incredible. So we'll see where it goes from here. All right, Hood. I saw someone mention Hood this morning. No, 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 no. This is not in play. I
No,
don't
no, no.
see anything on it. It's no volume. Yeah, no volume. Garbage. We'll have to see what happens when the market opens. Right, there's just nothing going on right now. So we'll have to wait to see if anything actually takes place. All right, I think that kind of covers it. SMR, we did mention SMR next level earlier today. This is nuke scale. So again, this is in play. Some other ones are also in that sector are in play as well, or at least moving. I don't like the way this thing trades. Again, I watched it many, many times, and for what I'm looking for that explosive open, just the price action is not there for me, right? So not a big fan of the way this moves. And again, just got to have a strategy that works with this stock. And mine seems to not work well with this one. So very familiar with it. We watch it plenty of times. Makes our list quite a bit here on the gap up and gap down, but I'm not a big fan. I see the daily possibly breaking out of 13 here if we can get going. Let's see when the market opens if they get the volume and get moving here. Do I have Tesla? You know what? You mentioned Tesla, and I forgot to add it, so I am going to add Tesla to my list. They have a lot going on here. A little bit of a pullback from the last couple of days. Down 1.7, 1.1 million shares traded so far. So, no one mentioned Nike. How's Nike doing? Nike had that gap down yesterday, and how did it do here? Yeah, so we got a little bit of a move. Yeah, might not do much today. No volume this morning. Pretty flat for the most part. I think these guys are just going to hang out and wait to see what the new person is going to do here, the new CEO. All right, Peter, let's take it away to community events and announcements. See what's happening there, and we'll come back and see what else we can put on this list.
Well, let's start with the leader of our community, Andrew. He's still trapped. Well, not trapped, but he's still in the village. Hasn't yet managed to make an ascent attempt on Ochoyo. He's no, what's it called? What's the name of the mountain? I always get it
Is it a
wrong.
Choyo? I don't.
That's what
I'm
I
not
just
sure.
said, but it didn't sound right when I said it. Anyways, it's something like that. He's going to make an attempt as soon as the weather clears. And Cho Oyo, there you go. See, I knew it didn't sound quite right. But he again was talking with him the other day. He's been sending us missives as he's just waiting for that weather window in which he can make an attempt. And I don't know if you guys saw his social media post. It made me laugh because I'm like, oh my God, he's been there too long. He posed with a lovely young local and looked like
Yeah,
her
the
two young
family.
children. Looks like he adopted a Nepalese family now. So he's
That was
he's
hilarious.
there. So I don't
No,
think he had
no.
enough time to have the kids. So I assume they're not his, but they're just
He's
he was
like,
just he
I've been here
posed.
so long. I started a family, and one of the kids
Yeah,
is like
exactly. It looked
eight
like a
years
family
old. It's
picture
like
the
eight
way he
years
posed.
old.
I'm like, I know, like,
Uh,
hasn't been that long, but anyways,
yeah.
it was. All right. Well, he's becoming a local, so there you go. I did find that entertaining. I wish I'd had that picture ready that we could show it to you. But if you haven't seen it, you can find it. I think it was on. Was it
One sec,
Instagram?
I'm
It'd
getting
be
it.
one of the social media platforms where I saw that. But anyways, he's out there. Okay. That being said,
It's up.
there it is. There you go. You got it. See, look, he's just posing. It's like I'm like, there's something I didn't know, Andrew. Anyways, it's anyways, it did make me laugh this morning. So there you go. All right, guys, let's talk about our community. It's Thursday, which means we have a lot of mentorship sessions. In fact, we should have 4 of them happening for you today. We always start with John in the morning, who does a good session if you want to sort of get some information. Whether you're just a beginner or you're very experienced, you should attend John's session 11 o'clock in the webinar room. It's a good opportunity to have a sort of a one-on-few type of conversation. Is usually, and I said you can get a lot of in-depth sort of follow-on questions. If something's come up this week that you'd like to get some help with, or you've been thinking about for a while, join John if you're an elite member, and you can participate in that mentorship session. We've got Jared and Megan, who are then talking options in the webinar room once again at 2 o'clock. Lenny's going to come on, talk equities at 4, and then Thor is going to close out the day, as he always does, at 8 o'clock. And he's going to have a good session, as he usually does. Always get a lot of questions, a lot of interaction. So at the 8 p.m. So those are the 4 for you: 11 a.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m., 8 p.m. Put them all in your calendar. Have some fun. Have some conversations. Let's talk trading. If you want information on the markets with no schedule, Trading Terminal is a place to go. And if you want to join us here at Bearable Traders, we've got a number of membership options for you. You can go from the intro right through to the Elite Annual. Don't forget, if you're on YouTube right now, you can always do a one-time $1 membership option at bearabletraders.com/YouTube to take advantage of that. And then hopefully you'll be convinced to join on one of our other packages, because we're here all day. We're always talking stocks. We're having a lot of fun. It's always a good time. So hopefully you will consider joining us. As we said, pretty red out there. Like red, a lot of red. I'm looking on my screens all over the place. So it's just one of those interesting days where the market is starting by moving down. Who knows? We could turn around and be green by the time the markets get underway. But I'm not going to count on. I'm going to wait for the market to tell me what's happening, and I will react to that. I'm looking at Barrick Gold right now, because we did get a question in the room from Maybach, who was asking about a particular strategy. If I saw Mountain Pass, I did not, but I'm looking at it right now. It was a pretty one. Yeah, I missed that, but yeah, that that would meet my strategic requirements. Good Mountain Pass that happened in the morning, a little early for that Maybach, but it certainly worked as it went all day. So good catch on that. Speaking of strategy, we did get some questions in the morning about the 8 a.m. price movement. I will mention we haven't talked about that in a while, so let's just mention briefly, Carlos, if you can bring up, doesn't matter which one, Nvidia or Microsoft or Apple or whatever one you want. 8 o'clock in the morning, we often get a settlement of overnight accounts. You can see it on any one of these stocks. Here's a good one on Nvidia, where you can see these candles. So usually what we get is a small body, big wick candle with this big volume spike. I say massive, but it's only massive compared to the surrounding volume. This is where, again, overnight accounts tend to get settled, and sometimes this will set a range for the day. It might tell you a range in which a stock will move. Sometimes, not always. So we sometimes watch it. We lovingly like to call that the Thor tin foil line, only because we considered it sort of a conspiracy theory that things are always moving, and we got this beautiful graphic from a long time ago with Thor in a tinfoil hat. And anyway, so it's Thor's tinfoil theory, and you can see that I sometimes will pay attention to those ranges, because you may find a stock will play within those ranges over the course of the day. So they're worth being aware of. Again, they might come and play, they might not. Nvidia right now, of course, is trading up above that, so maybe they won't be in play. But something like Apple, where you can see that 8 o'clock line went to the top and bottom, it might actually set a range within which the stock will play all day. So you would want to know where the edges of that range is in case you get sort of pullbacks at that area, right? Support or resistance. So something to just keep in mind. It happens on especially the larger stocks, the Magnificent Seven and some of the other bigger ones. It happens pretty much every day where you get this 8 a.m. spike in volume and then these wiki candles. So something to look for. Speaking of looking for things, Carlos is going to help us look for levels on our targeted stocks, and then I'll let you know what
Yeah.
our moderators are looking for in a stock today.
Yep, absolutely, friends. Our list right now, Nvidia, we have Baba, Microsoft, and Tesla. So let's jump in here and start slamming some levels here. So you guys slamming that thumbs up over on YouTube. We are sitting at 110. It's very light, the views today, only 476 people. So some people might be enjoying the holidays. If your kids are off, like my kids are off, they're in the house probably doing their thing there. But if you are celebrating, I think it's what is the Jewish holiday? It's a Rosh Hashanah, I think it is. I
Rosh
believe it is.
Hashanah, yeah.
So yeah, yeah. So happy
So
holidays to our Jewish viewers if they're watching. And yeah. So but hit that thumbs up. We're on 130 there. Very good. Thank you for that. We really, really appreciate it. All right, let's go do some levels, guys. Start with Nvidia this morning. So if we look at Nvidia, 121.50 is our high of our pre-market. And once you do that, you're not gonna need a whole lot of levels because if you look at it here, you got plenty highs and lows of the last two trading days are doing a great, great job. In fact, some of these levels that we put on yesterday we can actually take off, so we could take off this one, we don't need it, and these two we're going to keep 113.28. Got a little bit of resistance and support there, and then we're going to keep 109.06 just in case we do drop. And then we have highs and lows for the last two trading days. Our low of our pre-market is pretty much slamming into the previous day close here, so you don't need to mark that again. So if you see it right here, here's our low of our pre-market right in this area. I'm sorry, our low previous day close, which is the low of the pre-market as well. So again, don't need to really put a level there to make it more complicated than what it needs to be. So that is Nvidia. In case we break out, this is two trading days ago. This would have been Tuesday's high right on there, around 122. Above that, in case we do get going, I really want to have this level down here because you see a lot of action around 123.96. You see a great support there. Once we look at this run, by the way, back in and was this August? Look at beautiful run here. This is when we kind of we're going for that all-time high there. Then we have this level 123 and a good support happening there. So let's see where Nvidia goes today. We got some good volume on it, 7.6 million shares traded on it, showing some strength to this morning. So we'll see if that continues. Let's head over to Baba. So pulling back a little bit. We've seen these pullbacks before, and they ended up taking off again, right? We saw that 2 days ago, gap down, and it just took off. So let's see if this is a change in direction, some sideways action, or are we going back towards that 116? Nevertheless, the volume is great, 3.2 million. This stock has been heavily in play over the last couple of days, weeks, really. Love the pre-market 110.11. So we'll put a level there. High of the pre-markets are tin foil line that Peter was talking about here at 8 a.m. 114.35. So we'll slam that there. And then towards the bottom, you have the lows from 2 trading days ago, right on there around 106. So some pretty good levels. I don't think you need to add much to this. We'll leave it just as is. Looks good for Baba. Great volume this morning. Hopefully we get some clean action out of that today. Microsoft, that's not going to give you a whole lot of pre-market activity. It normally doesn't have a lot of volume, but when the volume does come in, it can trade very well. I always think Microsoft is like a nicey stock, but it's not, right? It's NASDAQ, but I think they've been around for so long. I keep thinking that it's like a nicey one. They tend to trade like it a little bit at times. They don't get heavy pre-market action like the rest of the Nvidias and the AMDs of the world do. But only
that's
112.
true.
That's gonna change. Yeah, right. I think it's. I'm like, oh, it's a nicey stock. I was gonna mention that, but I look over. No, remember, this is a Nasdaq, right? But they've been around, man, for
Yeah.
forever.
I think they
Um,
were
that's
they were
that's
like one of the
weird. Were
very
they
first.
nicey?
Nasdaq stocks. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when it was
Okay.
such a young exchange, everybody was shocked when they sort of went on to that sort of baby exchange. But
Hmm.
they provided early legitimacy and have been trading there for a
Yeah.
long time. But yeah, Microsoft's not bad, but he said it does trade a little tough at times.
Yeah. Yeah. Level here towards the bottom and below the previous day close, and the low of the pre-market is going to be 411.56. So we'll slam one there. You can see the support and resistance right around that area. So a lot of days slamming into that. And then towards the top, you got the stairs, right? Highs and lows for the last two trading days, every day here connecting, creating some really good levels there for you. So that is Microsoft. Tesla pulling back a bit here. They got their numbers yesterday at market. They didn't take it that way. It was kind of like up and down on it. So I'm not sure what's going to be doing today, but we do have great volume this morning. Hi, sweetie. You okay? What's going on? Come here. Daddy's finishing up. Come. Sorry, fellas. Sorry,
That's our
guys. What's happening, Mama? Here's our beautiful princess. What's going on?
Mama, why don't you take me away from
Okay.
outside?
All right. So I need
I
to.
don't like abuela.
No, no, no. You love abuela. All right. Let's sing off a little bit. Dad finish it up. Okay. I need you to be quiet. All right. Is that okay? Okay. Good. All right, so on Tesla, guys, highs and lows for the last two trading days. We're going to mark down right over here 242, 244.31. Don't touch that. 244.31. And then we have a level here of 247.48. So we'll slam it there. And once you look surrounding the highs and lows of the last two trading days, you have previous day close towards the top, and you have many. Hold on. You got previous day close towards the top, and then you have the highs and lows for the last two trading days. Tesla, great volume, 1.3 million shares traded, right? And it is down 1.5. So really like the way this looks this morning. You can see yourself here. Look, there you are.
It's always great to see yourself on camera, isn't it?
Yeah,
She
she's
can't hear
looking
me,
at
I
herself in
know,
the
but
camera and doing her things. You want to hear? Say hi to Peter.
Hi, Peter.
hello. How are
Hi,
you?
Peter.
Hello.
Good.
All right.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
All right, friends.
See?
That is our levels. Nvidia, Power, Microsoft, and Tesla. So she's helping me out with the show today. See, there she goes saying. Remember we talked about the caca and booty? She calls everything that.
Look, this is the best stock analysis I've heard in a while. So she's right on it.
Excellent. All right, let's get to what our moderators are looking at this morning, and let's see what they're watching today.
All right, guys, we've got our moderators coming in with their lists. Some of them are keeping it pretty tight. Others are spreading the net a little wider. Mike's starting with Tesla and Meta. We then can go to Lenny, who's going to be watching Tesla, Nvidia, Billy, Baba, and Levi. Levi had some earnings the other night, but Mike, it's one of those ones that I love to watch, but disappointed me every single time. So, Lenny, I hope you have some success on it. I never have. Thor is going to be watching sort of his usual suspects, Tesla, Nvidia, the SPYs, and the Qs. I'm going to be watching my usual suspects in AMD, Nvidia, and Tesla. My secondary, I'll watch Baba, and I'll probably just keep an eye on the scanners. I don't know what else to watch, so we'll see what comes up. Pierre, who's going to be trading live with us today, along with Thor. So we got a little bit of a different mix-up. Brian is actually on the road with some business meetings in Calgary, apparently. So Pierre's going to be sitting in for him, and he's going to be watching NVIDIA, Baba, Amazon, and Tesla. Brendan will be watching NVIDIA, Baba, and Tesla this morning. And we've got Phil, who's coming in with his list with NVIDIA, Tesla, Baba, and Roblox. Roblox is not one we've talked about in quite a while. Is it doing anything interesting this morning? No. 1.2 million shares. I don't know. Is that normal for Roblox? That seems like some decent volume. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm sure he will let us know when something interesting happens with it. So there you go. That's what our moderators are watching. I have no IPOs today. We actually had a decent day for IPOs yesterday. Had a couple that opened. Nothing super nice, but at least there was some stuff to watch. So we got to get back in practice. I'm hoping that this fall season will bring more IPOs that we can get some trading opportunities. So because they're fun. I like trading IPOs. You can get like outsized moves on them. They come with some risk, but that's why I've got fixed rules. If you're a member in the room, you can check out the room drive. I've got my rules posted there. You can just see what they are, and if that's something that you might want to pay attention to. What are we sitting at? It's 9:15. Means we got 14 minutes now before the market open, and should be a good day. I'm hoping for trading. I sort of like days like this where we've got movement. I'm a short bias trader, so I don't mind stuff moving down. And Phil's saying on Roblox he's looking at it because it's got high volume and it's sitting around the monthly S3 levels. He's going to keep an eye on it. So there you go. It's good to know. He'll let us know, as I said, and I might put it on one of my lists over here. Just I don't want to miss out, right? I'll put it over here. There you go. Now it's on one of my lists. We are going to see what happens today. Should be a great one. Carlos is trading with a special guest this morning. I'm sure it'll only make trading easier. It's like
It
having
sure
a cat
will.
on the keyboard.
She's I put her back over there in the desk. She's gave her the phone, which normally we don't do, but
there she is.
when we need to get her, yeah, there she is back there. All right, friends, we are set. NVIDIA from me, Baba, Microsoft, and Tesla all looking good this morning. Short list. Usually I have 6, but this is not bad. 4, nice and focused, and then PDD, Tiger. And what is our risky one doing? Look at RZLV is has sold off, right? So that's that's not looking good anymore. We don't like that. All right, friends. Who's trading live today? We have Brian and Thor.
Pierre.
Pierre.
Thor and Pierre.
Beautiful.
Thor and Pierre. Brian's on the road with some business meetings
traveling
in Calgary. Yeah.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. All right, we'll wait for them to log on. We'll hand it off to them. And guys, trade safe today. And happy Rosh Hashanah for those who are celebrating today and tomorrow. We're open. We'll be back tomorrow again. So look forward to the trading day this morning and also tomorrow as well. All right. I think we are set. Peter, anything else?
That's it for me. I'm just going to keep a close eye on the usual suspects. I think that it's probably going to be a quiet open for me, and then we'll wait for things to shape up mid-morning, and hopefully we'll get a trade opportunity. Our members have been pretty quiet out there, so I hope you guys are having a good morning. I was listening to Engineering the Markets with Jared. Sounds like he sounds better, so that's good. It's good to know he's back in the saddle. I was worried about him for a while there.
Yeah.
I never like it when someone gets sick. So, but yeah, he seems to be on the mend. So that's always good news. And yeah, it's all quiet. Avi's on the mend. Everybody's back. Everybody's feeling good. So, Carlos, with
awesome.
Kids at home, does that mean that you're going to be having more playtime, I imagine, than usual?
Yeah, it's going to be more playing time than actually trading today. That's for sure. So if I don't see something that's very clean, I won't be taking it, and I won't be forcing anything because I'll just go play with them for today. So that's the plan for today and tomorrow.
Especially, it seems that Abuela is being mean.
Yeah. I'm sure she's being good, but she's probably got a no, and she doesn't like no's.
Exactly.
Over YouTube, friends, if you haven't done so already, subscribe and hit that thumbs up. We're sitting at 215. We're just shy of 300. Me and Peter just need 300 to end the show, and that usually completes our goal here. So if you can help us get there, that'd be awesome. As we get into our live trading with Thor and Pierre this morning, Thor's list right now: Tesla, NVIDIA, SPY in the queues, and Pierre's going to be looking at NVIDIA, Baba, Amazon, and Tesla. So very tight list. Looking forward to that. Question on YouTube from Hike Daddy. Can you explain the 5-minute ORB breakout strategy? So we could, but then we won't do probably a good job with the time we have left. But if you join for $1, bearwoodtraders.com, you can join for $1. We got tons of videos on the 5-minute ORB from myself. You're going to see Pierre trading the 5-minute ORB today. So take a look at that. And also Lenny. Lenny trades the 5-minute ORB. So we got 3 different, and Andrew does for the most part sometimes. But me, Pierre, and Lenny, we heavily trade this strategy. So you can take a look at our videos in our education center. So again, $1 gets you in for a week. So go to bearwoodtraders.com/YouTube, and you get access to all of that. And then also our onboarding class on Monday, coming up this Monday. So we'd love to see you there. So that's probably the best way to do it. All right. With that said,
good morning, Thor. I see you out there.
Yeah, good morning, guys.
Hey, good
Yeah.
morning.
Thor, I keep looking at the chair. Please tell me, those big black chairs behind you, does one of them swivel?
No, they're both
No,
fixed chairs.
that's
Just a
too
couple
bad.
of. They're actually aesthetic. I don't think anyone's actually ever sat in them. I think they just.
Oh no,
They're just
that's too
there.
bad, because I would love one day. I want you in like a high collared shirt. Do you have a cat that you can pet? And I want you to slowly turn around in the chair when you come on the air, because I mean, it's you got all sorts of like sort of evil genius
I don't
vibes
have a
going on
cat,
there.
but I have a
Big
Shih
cat.
Tzu. I could do it with like a Shih Tzu. Just fine.
There you go. That works. That's right. Good evening, Mr. Bond. I see you fallen into my trap.
And I just be like,
Yeah. See, exactly. It's just those the black high back. Yeah, there you go. Anyways, all right.
I see
Hey,
you've
I
been
see
trading, Monsieur Bond.
Exactly. Pierre, all right. Pierre's in now too. You guys are feeling ready for the open?
Yes, interesting stuff this morning. Looking forward to
Yeah,
it.
it's going to
First
be
time
making
reading
$1
the chart,
billion.
Excellent. Well, we're going to leave you to it. Trade smart, everybody, and have a fantastic morning, and happy Rosh Hashanah to everyone out there.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Pierre, what's up, man?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Oh man, I'm fantastic, man. Good to see you. Excited to do some training. I think this is our first time teaming up
Yes.
at the Open here, so that's pretty fun.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. And we both trade in a similar way a little bit lately. For those who don't know, I've been slowly getting converted to trading Tor trading style. So I think it's going to be interesting to apply it together this morning.
That's right, trying to bring them to the dark side of the cams over here. So I do apologize in advance already. Apparently, I fed my my animal lately, and it sounds like a cricket jungle over here. So I'll try and manage my mute whenever I'm not talking.
What do you have there? It's a snake?
So I have a snake and a chameleon. So,
Okay,
but the
okay.
chameleon's the one who eats the crickets, and I just fed him. His name's Camo because I'm uncreative, and so anyway, he's working on that right now. And apparently, there's a big loud group. Like, my gosh, look at these things. So
I'll let you guys live trade, but if we get the 400 likes, maybe you can show us later in the show. Take your webcam and show them to us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have I have my my ball python Pearl. I can bring her out and let everyone see. So just saying, around 10:15 or so, if we got plenty of likes and we're having, the trading's going a little bit, we'll do that. So as we get ready, one of the things that really is I kind of got on my eye is 945. 945 is S&P Global Services. For anyone who out there in YouTube landia there, if you're looking for a good news source, we actually have the tradingterminal.com. So I hit a plug on that for you. But it's really nice. And if you go to the calendar, we actually have an economic calendar on there, and you can go and see where all the major events are. And at 9:45, you can see this big old 3-star here, S&P. So it's going to should be spicy. So so you may get a little bit more chop out of the market, especially in the first 15 minutes as we wait on that. And then after that, we have a Fed that's going to be speaking after that, and that is why it's not showing it now. There should have been a Fed speaking today. I think it was Kashkari. Let me reload, unless I had the wrong days the other day.
So you said that first news event we have is 9:45?
9:45 for the first one, and then I think it's Bostic and Kashkari, but I don't see them. Anyway, I swear they're happening, and that's like 10 something. Hold on, see if I can get this thing to load. 10:40. All right. Anyway, Mike, thanks, Mike. 10:40 for Bostic. So, so just keep that in mind. What often has been happening lately is the market gets some interesting news. It kind of overreacts, and then a Fed comes out, an hour to 2 hours later and says something comforting, basically, and then the market does the other thing. So just kind of keep that in mind, that that we're going to do that, because guys like Bostic and guys like Kashkari is not even a voting member, but often these guys are giving out some of the subtle cues that the market's really paying attention to. So just keep that in mind. So what tickers do you like, bud?
I like the casual suspect. I always look at Tesla. NVIDIA looks interesting. I think I really like NVIDIA this morning. If we can see NVIDIA pushing to R3, which is at 122.32, 122.32, which is the high we had 2 days ago. That could be interesting spot to go for a short if we have, of course, some good VPAs there. It's a level I'm paying good attention to. Other
I
than
like
that,
that. I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm watching Baba today too, which I think is
I have Baba
interesting.
as well.
I'm actually thinking about potentially doing a trending breakdown on this, because it's a lower range today. So I'm kind of thinking if it pulls back to like VWAP S4, the 111.50-ish area, and finds a seller there and then moves lower, fair value for like the month is all the way back down on this one, is back near $100. So if this went into a sell, it could be quite the sell off. And that candle on the daily yesterday, I don't know if y'all out there in YouTube land can see the daily candle on
Yeah.
Baba yesterday, but we call that a death cross. When you're looking at a death chart, which is basically it opened and closed at the exact same price, and it was on a ton of volume. So if it had been just a little bit tighter on the close, it would have actually been a black volume candle, which would have been wild. So I mean, it's a pretty nasty candle.
So you're planning Baba to do something a little bit like Tesla did yesterday, but something more cleaner on S4. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If that sets, which unfortunately right now it's actually opening a little close to S4. So it's going to make that, I like to have a little distance so it kind of squeezes in. I can watch it kind of consolidate for a minute and then play the acceptance or the failure. With this being so close, it's going to basically just be a kind of just a split decision. If it opens and I see selling volume coming in, I'm basically just going to fire short and see what happens, and then, but otherwise I'll just let it bounce around and maybe go off and check out, kind of like what you're talking about. I think NVIDIA will be a great play later. I think, maybe 15 minutes from now, half hour from now, after all this news stuff happens, I think NVIDIA will be where I want to be.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I think Amazon could be interesting short if it goes back to S4. See, I have S4 at 183.53, and it's also the place where we had trouble going lower on 2 days ago, basically.
Yeah, I like that a lot. We broke through the buyer that was holding the price off of S4 2 days ago. Now we're under them. So if we could squeeze back up, test, and then reject, that definitely would be a good one. I like that a lot.
That could be a good play.
Stuff in here.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna have some good opportunities. Just have to be patient and let those opportunities appear to us.
Absolutely. ES and NQ, so this would be like spies and Qs. Both of them are technically in lower ranges today. But they're both finding bids right now leading into the open. So just remember, we're going to open here in just about 30 seconds. Right now, we have news events that are coming out basically every 15 minutes for the first hour of the day. So which means every single time a new news event comes out, the market could change its mind and switch directions. So just stay, keep your head on a swivel today. And and just kind of like be a little extra patient. ES Encore is the futures for the SPY. And ding ding ding.
Yep, market open, trade safe, everyone. Amazon is dropping right off the gate.
Amazon went straight to S6 with a lot of volume. Bam. That's
wow. Amazon.
That was aggressive. So much for a back test to S4.
Yeah.
Anything just sold. Ugh. Dang, this thing's on its way to a floor level. Jeez. All right, well, bye.
Wow.
Bye,
What a
Amazon.
drop.
Nice knowing you.
See, that was
Dang.
the move we were expecting. Just no good entry there. Hard to
Yeah, it just
chase.
didn't give us our squeeze. Oh, Nvidia's look really bearish. Man, the
NVIDIA is dropping.
market's selling. SPY and Qs are taking on sell volume as well. Today, on a lower range, we could go into a trending breakdown on the SPY and the Qs. It could be very aggressive. See what happens if they squeeze, if they find a buyer here and start to squeeze, or if they just keep selling.
Baba looks strong. Going over the VWAP here. See some big orders on the top side. Oh, and look at Tesla going. All right, so no trade yet. I would like to see NVDA keep pushing a little bit higher towards 122, 122.50 and see what's going on there.
I grabbed a little bit of a long on Amazon here at like 180, 150 when it made the new high and pulled back. I'm going to see if we come off of this floor level and run back across the range. Looks like we grabbed liquidity on Qs, so if we start to find a buyer, I think we could run here. We just did such a hard drop so fast down to that level, and then set an isolated pivot down here. So hoping we can play back across.
Nice, looking good right now. Going through the VWAP. The Qs are strong. Pushing here.
Yeah, the Qs really started finding a buyer, so we'll see what happens. This is kind of the moment of truth here now. We're kind of coming back above. You can see here, entry. It made the high and then it pulled back into the value area, so I went long and just threw my stop below the low. See what happens. Wow, Nvidia did a nice little... Nvidia looked like it was going to be really weak at the open. It just went right down, grabbed, and just started running to the top side. The thing that's interesting with Nvidia is Nvidia has a gap from PDC. And Nvidia really likes to close its gaps.
What's the percentage of gap fill on NVDA? I know you said one time on AMD was like 70% or something.
I'm going to pull it right now. 80% gap fill. So that would be most of the way back. Happens 70% of the time. It'll fulfill 80% of its gap.
Wow, that's interesting. Amazon looking good.
So far, so good. All right. So I'm still holding this Amazon long. I do have some new orders coming out to the top, which is good, but I also have buyers coming out below as well. So if we do roll over, and it looks like 183, I start running out of sellers, which is kind of back to S4. So if we get to S4 and then roll over at S4, this could obviously come right back down this book. So it'll be interesting to see what we do here. But I do like the idea. If we get back up to S4 from here, could really get a bigger squeeze going, and I think we could make it. And this was just a move back to PDC and 2 days ago's close, basically. So there should be a really high value area here to go to. So we'll see what happens. We will see.
What do you think about Amazon order book? Yeah, I think you're on mute, Tor.
Thank you. I muted to
There you
keep the
go.
crickets away. So I'm kind of okay on it because they're bringing more orders out at 184. So it does look like we're buying and putting more orders, but when I got into the position, there was kind of a gap of orders below. So, and we hit a large order and held it. So and the order book looked good enough to bounce. Now we're bringing in all kinds of orders underneath it. So if it rolls over here, it's going to be very sketchy. So we'll see what happens. Stinking crickets.
Trading in the jungle. I like it.
Right? I feel like a average Joe. Let's see. What was the what was I just thinking? Hold on, let's look at Amazon. See, Amazon's rolling over now. It's coming back to S6, so we'll see if it holds.
Yeah, the SPY is back at low of the day here.
It's a lower range day on the Qs and the SPY, so it should get up to around R3, which it's went from S4, so Q's bought right off the lower range buying area, so that makes a lot of sense actually. So we'll have to see if it holds this. If it goes and breaks low of day, that could easily go into a really nasty breakdown. But right now we opened and held the low end of the range. So if we start moving upwards, we could easily on Qs get up to around 485 today. So if it starts going, not a lot of volume there when it got up though. Shouldn't be muted now. So, but I was for a minute. Coffee gone. Killed the coffee. Man, I did not sleep last night at all, so I'm actually pretty happy that I've got some energy right now. Thanks to the marvelous invention of coffee.
I grabbed a short on Baba when I saw some rejection around that 112 level. So it's pretty much where we had yesterday low.
Yeah, 112 and a quarter previous day's low. I like it. You're in the selling range too. Yeah, it's
I really
I
like
have the
how
kickers to relax you.
was just gonna say I really like how the daily chart looks on Baba for a short.
Baba has such a pretty. I do too. What is the news? HKD. Oh, this is a. Seems like is this a lower float one?
Some big volume is coming in on NVDA right now. It's pushing right at R3, 122.32. The order book looks really, really bullish on the NVDA here.
Still holding Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon, nice little pullback to the VWAP and so far bouncing here.
Yeah, if I get a nice bounce in the market today, if the market can get a little bit of a rally on, that'd be even better. Nice, Steve. We had a couple of our traders yesterday had some big days. It was awesome. Glad to see we already got some guys getting it done this morning. J-Rad got his long on NVIDIA off of that grab.
Nice. Now NVIDIA looks good here.
Let's go. Come on, Amazon. Pay attention. Look what NVIDIA is doing. You're worthy. It's okay. You're as cool as NVIDIA. I'm just trying to say good things to it. It looks like it needs a little encouragement. Oh, nice. Sweet NVIDIA trade, Johnny, especially using the options there. Very nice. Are you two exits there, Johnny, or are those two a partial and then an add? Either way, I mean it's really pretty. I'm just curious. All right, thank you, Jonathan. We have 2 minutes, Pierre, until our one of our news events is going to hit. So, for those of you who are watching my screen, I'm going to put up the ES. So it's really fun to watch what the ES does as we lead into news events. Normally, if they're really expecting a lot out of the news event, you'll see the order book will start getting really dark as we get closer to the news event. They'll start pulling orders off the order book. This is one of the reasons why things get really wild. Notice on the ES, which is like the SPY, basically futures, really large order up at 57.70 right now.
Yes, the news coming in 10 seconds. Amazon is pretty much right back at the high of the day. Looking good there.
Let's hope. I don't like where the market is right now. Like Qs are getting into a selling range right now for this news, which I'm not in love with. All right.
Is it out yet? I don't see volume.
The book really didn't clear ahead of it, so it doesn't really it didn't really like prime the book for it. So we might wait for the Fed reaction. But let's just see. Give it a minute. See if the volume trickles in.
Hey guys, the news is out. The S&P PMI boringly came out on target, so yeah, didn't really do anything interesting. So how boring, eh?
So boring.
All right, we actually have perhaps a more impactful number with the manufacturing PMI numbers coming out at 10 o'clock. So I'll be back in 14 minutes or so.
This has been the boring news. Beep 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 beep. I really think that could be a thing. I'm still holding this Amazon situation here, so.
Amazon have a big order at 185. Wouldn't be surprised if it pushed there. You see that order at 184 that just came in?
Yeah. So far, all right. And the VPA right now isn't really hurting me either. I mean, I haven't seen like a big signal that we've started to sell again. With the news coming out, it could change things. So on how people are. So if it starts to sell too hard, I might get out of this. Because one thing I don't like is I don't like that the NQ is in a selling range right now. So on a lower range in a selling range to boot. So that's kind of a sketchy spot to be, and to be holding a tech ticker long. So
where's your target with Amazon?
it is at Amazon target. It was right above PDC, so like right near 185.
I think the next level Amazon is going to have trouble to push through will be S4.
My problem is I think the Qs are going to sell here in a minute, but we'll see. When we're saying S4, Mariana, we're talking about, we use some of us use what's called a Camarilla pivot point for our kind of where we're looking for to like isolate trade opportunities, selling ranges, buying ranges, stuff like that. So S4 is basically normally about the fairly low end of what we would call the range. So normally if you're going outside of S4 or R4, you're generically leaving the range. So yeah.
Wow, NVIDIA is still going.
So is Amazon.
Samed, yeah, I'm still short, Baba. It's not doing too much here. It's looking a little bit choppy, and my stop is right at high of the day. So I'm still holding this one. We'll see what happens.
Hey, Dalton. No, there's some kind of a glitch going on in here. NQ is definitely in a lower range. And so is ES, no doubt about it. I've got some kind of a glitch going on in here in the code on here. I've had a couple issues today. One of them was it was telling me like it says it was with pre-market data, but the cams it was giving me was obviously without. So I got to get back into the code and figure out what's going on. Something changed. What do I think about NVIDIA right now? I think the market's a short right now, so which makes me not love my Amazon position. But if so, NVIDIA, yeah. Oh, NVIDIA made it all the way out to that R6 area, 123 and a quarter. So Nvidia's order book actually looks fairly bearish right now as well. So Nvidia, I mean, maybe balanced with a few orders to the downside closer to the price. So I wouldn't be surprised if this did a little drop here. But for me, for Nvidia, if I was going to short it because we're in a higher range, I would want it higher. I'd actually want it off of 124 if I was going to short it. It's actually, although it is quite high right now, and it may be a short from here, I would actually want it to be a little bit higher if I was going to short it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Right around that order at 124. And another point
Yeah.
is that right now we don't have any VPA sign that the price is ready to reverse.
Yeah, exactly. So it could be a reversal. But one of the things a lot of people mess up is think about, like, if you have a reversal, think about it in more of a concept of a front half and a back half, right? If you're once it goes up and it starts rallying, you are now in the front half. If it ever does a reversal, many tickers have engulfing candles on their daily, which means they never offered a reversal. Right. So, and that happens all the time. A lot, so this is why you got to be really picky for reversals and get them from the right area. And this is why we use VPA, because we want to see when we're really struggling to get through a seller. That way we know at least there's a good chance we're going to have to go to a large buyer. And so, like, if NVIDIA rolled over from somewhere around 124 with an ATR of $5.25, right, we could go from 124 all the way to 120, which is where a large buyer is, and that would fulfill our ATR. So if we've sold from here, we would have to overblow 120 to fulfill our ATR, and that's less likely. We'll most likely just go to this large buyer and then stop in front of them. So we need to actually be a little bit higher if we want to short. VPA, big M, volume and price analysis. I'm going to go grab a fresh drink. I'll be right back.
So things are stalling a bit here. We can see like the queues are going a bit sideways here. Same with Amazon. Amazon is pretty much trading with the queues here. Teddy Bear in the chat asking me, what's the reason behind shorting Baba? Well, the first thing I really liked with Baba is how the daily looks. I like the candle we closed yesterday, right at R3 with the monthly cam. So seeing that, like, I'm definitely short biased today. And I like where it opened just under S4. So my plan was seeing a push up to S4 around there and then see some rejection. But in the meantime here, I just got stopped out on Baba. So Baba is breaking to high of the day. So I cut my position here. But the idea was good. And I like the way the price action formed at the open. So it pushed up, went down, and then trying to push again, forming a double top with decreasing volume. So that's where I took it short. So SPY is catching a bounce here. Same with the Qs.
Let's go Amazon. Amazon's crossing the 50 SMA right now. If I can get above it and hold, we'll be having some fun. I just wish the Qs weren't in a selling range right now. See how every time the Qs tries to push, it's instantly getting forced down by something? It's not that it can't go up. It may be going up, but this is the problem with going long in a selling range. Anytime you go long, there's going to be someone willing to sell. So as soon as it pops up, a seller's going to hit it. It's going to drop, and then you're going to have to hold as it buys through the seller. Doesn't mean it won't go up. It just stinks because you're constantly holding through these pullbacks. And one of the reasons why it's good to be in the right range is because you get that waterfall in the direction. If you go short in a selling range, when the price starts to sell, you get a big move in your direction. Where if you're going long in a selling range, it's just like stair steps up. It just takes forever, and it's a very, bothersome process. Whee! There we go. We bottom.
Nice. In the meantime, I was just telling to the chat I got stopped out, unfortunately, on Baba at high of the day here. But great trade in general.
Yeah, killer trade. Good management too, man.
Yeah, that's so important in trading. When you see a trade not going in your direction, it's important to take the loss and move on. For me, I think the most important is even before you enter the trade. You need, before entering the trade, be comfortable with what you're risking.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like
Yeah,
the
I
amount you're
use
willing
fixed risk.
to.
You know, I use fixed risk, so I'm going to use the same. I lose in this or make the same amount of money on every trade I take. So,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah, it's game changer. For me, the way I see it is like the money I'm risking is the money I'm paying to see if I will be right or wrong. It's really like that.
You know, I always thought of it. I think a lot of like professional poker players and gamblers often kind of resonate with that methodology. You know what I mean? Because anytime you play a hand, you've got an ante. You know what I mean? So you can't be upset about losing your ante because it's a requirement to
Hmm.
play the game. So what you need to be upset about is what you do with the hand. You know, do you play the statistics based upon what you see properly? You know, I mean, those are the things you're striving for, right? So, I mean, it's kind of a really cool parallel if you think about it. You know that in the whole stock trading gig is you're really often just putting in money just to say, hey, let's see where it happens, and then if it doesn't work, don't be obsessed about it. Say this one didn't work and go and find. And the idea is to make more money when you win than when you lose, right? So this is why I go for 4-to-1 targets. I can lose 4 trades, have one trade work, and then boom, I'm basically back to break even. Let's start over and do this again. And it certainly helps a
Exactly.
lot.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so important to be comfortable even before you enter a trade. Because if you're trying to be comfortable while you're already in the trade, it's gonna be super hard to manage.
Mm-hmm. So what do we got on for the schedule today? Do we have any do we do guest stuff in here on just like one day a week, or is it like every day are we having somebody in here at 10:30? Because that's pretty cool. I kind of like that.
We try to have somebody on 10:30 every day if we can,
That's
and
pretty
for the most part,
awesome.
we've been aiming that. Yeah, we like to introduce our YouTube channel to a lot of our moderators this way, and gives them the chance to get a feeling for what our webinars are like in the
Yeah.
BBT website. And today it's Eamon, and he's going to talk about the difference between fake breaks and retests.
Ooh.
So that's what's on
Nice.
deck today.
So y'all all know our AI man, aka Eamon, human cyborg integrated stock trading systems. Originally, actually a military project from the 1950s. He only looks like he's 17. In reality, he's actually 70 years old, and has been learning quantitative computing ever since then. So no, probably all fake news. Anyway, but our guy Eamon, one of the most precise, accurate, and controlled traders. I've been trading around Eamon for a half a decade now, a little more actually, and his ability to approach trading in a controlled and concise methodology on a regular basis is pretty inspirational. Actually, one of the things that steered me towards some of my own fixed risk concepts were watching Eamon's pinpoint concepts and how he would absorb multiple losses with one winner by going for larger targets. I don't go for as big of a target as him when I win. I'm kind of like halfway between him and everybody else, but it's really been very influential in my trading system as well. So hopefully y'all on YouTube will enjoy our guy Eamon. He's pretty awesome. Look at all this
10 a.m.
ball.
numbers are out. We're
10
looking
a.m.
net
numbers.
positive PMI numbers. So pretty well, a couple of points above expectation. So we can see the market got a little bit of a pop up there. Probably not going to be long lived. For example, PMI 51.7 was the target, 54.9 was the delivered number. So not like hugely above, but a little bit higher. There you go. That's the excitement for the day, guys. That's really the last number we've got today. So
Dun, dun, dun,
now we can
dun.
just things will move as they will move.
Boop, 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 boop. This has been the boring news.
Not too much reaction to those news.
Yep, not much. I'm kind of just watching the market as we go. I'm still holding the Amazon trade. So it's kind of just chopping around. Don't really know what's going on. With all the news and stuff like that, I went ahead and I rarely move trades to break even, but with all this new stuff, if it breaks all the way back down to 180, 160, this thing's dead meat because it's coming off at S4. So I'll let that one go. Right now I'm watching the SPY and the Qs because they both are like in SPY and Qs are in buying ranges right now, while their futures are basically in selling ranges. So that's really weird. So I don't know what to do with these weird ones right now. I might not do anything with them. I might just leave them alone.
Because usually the camps, let's say with the Qs and then Q are correlated, or
they tend to be relatively close to each other. Yeah, I mean they're not the same instrument, so they often don't correlate. So, but they're normally they're normally both in buying ranges and at the same time, or both all in the selling ranges at the same time. Right now, so when I'm saying buying ranges and selling ranges for y'all on YouTube, what I mean is if you think the easiest way to find them is if you look at yesterday's low and yesterday's high. Yesterday's high is going to be the top of your selling range. Yesterday's low is the bottom of your selling range. Go up about a third or down a third from each of those. That's your buying ranges. That's your selling ranges, right? So pretty cut and dry, right? So when we use Camaria pivot points, basically what Camaria pivot points is it maths that out a little bit easier, right? They're calculated off of the previous day's low, previous day's high, and they skew it with the previous day's close. So if you use cam pivots, right, you really don't have to do all of the hunting. You kind of know. So cam pivots anywhere under a 4 is a selling range. Anywhere above a 4 is a buying range. So like right now, for instance, on the Qs, we're above S3. So we're above a 4. So we're kind of in a buying range. But on the NQ, for instance, we're under R4. So we're actually in a selling range. So this is what I mean by we're kind of have our ETF and their correlating future are a little out of whack right now. YouTube peoples, how are y'all doing? Are we boring you yet? I know we're not as excited, Brian.
Yeah, I think we have a pretty boring trading style.
We're very boring. I've been holding one position this whole time, which sounds really boring.
Yeah, Andrew and Brian are pretty wild when they trade.
They're way more entertaining and better looking. I mean, not Pierre. Pierre's a good looking fellow, but I mean, y'all can like for Pierre. I mean, come on.
If things are boring, maybe we can take a few questions in the BBT chat room or on YouTube.
Oh, I like questions. That would be a Pierre question. They were asking about the 5-minute orb over in YouTube, Pierre. Yeah, I mean, I'm down if you want to chat about that.
Yeah, of course. So they're asking how I play my ORNB5, for example. I don't have YouTube open.
Yeah, 5-minute ORB.
Yeah, so the way I play the 5-minute ORNB is pretty straightforward. The first thing I like to see is how that first 5-minute candle close. For me, this is like the first criteria. That first 5-minute candle needs to show me like a clear direction, either over the VWAP or under the VWAP. The second thing, I'm looking at where in the cams that first 5-minute candle is opening. Is it in a buying range or a selling range? Because for example, if I'm trying to play a trade long, but that first 5-minute candle is opening in between R3 and R4, that cancel the trade. I'm not even gonna look for a trade. But if I have like a clear, strong 5-minute candle opening, let's say in between R4, not R4, but S3 and S4, then the second thing I look at is for a retracement towards the VWAP or one of those cams level with low volume. Super important that we have low volume there. This is the VPA sign I'm looking for. So after seeing that retracement, that's where I will enter as close as I can from the VWAP to play the bounce if I want to go long. Stop loss right under the VWAP, and that's pretty much how I play it.
Smooth.
So it's interesting because before I was playing that strategy without the cams, but just the fact that I incorporate the cams with my ORNB5, it's removing me a lot of trades that I shouldn't be taking. So really strong indicator in that with that idea.
Well, yeah, think about, you're taking you're buying an ORB break up. You're actually doing that in a buying range, right? So that was one of the issues I would always say with that. It's like, if you're going to target an ORB, often people will do an ORB and it's an ORB long, but they don't realize they're in a selling range. So, and you're right, because you read the volume right. So it does pop, but then as soon as it does the ORB, it just kind of stalls out and then immediately liquidates, and you're just like, whoa, what happened here? And it's like, well, you were right, it was going to bounce or pop out, but because of the range. So now you're pairing range with the ORB. I like that a lot.
Exactly. It's just gonna filter a lot of trade that the odds are against you, basically. So it might work, might still work, and you have a breakout, let's say over R3 and R4, but the likelihood of that trade working, it's better not going for that trade. And I play the 15 minutes ORNB exactly the same way, just bigger time frame.
Ooh, I like this question a lot. Dave's is asking in the YouTube, guys, is it normal to feel anxious before the market opens, feeling like I don't want to trade, but hyped when the market opens? So I think that's a really interesting question. So the one thing I will say on this one for me, and I'll let Pierre hit it as well, is for me, confidence in trading is not knowing what will happen. It's knowing what you will do or how you will respond to what could happen. Right. So this is what Pierre and I were talking about before, where he was saying, know how much money you're going to risk going into every trade. Right. He's it's not that Pierre's confident he's going to win his trade. He's going to lose a lot of trades. I'm going to lose a lot of trades. But because we know that when we lose, we know how much we're going to lose. When we know when we win, how much we're trying to win. And we know we're going to not even necessarily win more often than we lose. We're just going to win better than we lose. And because of that, when we do win, even if it's less frequently than how often we lose, we will make that up because of the management. You know what I mean? So your confidence will come as you accept your ability to manage these varied situations. But where a lot of traders will go wrong is they feel like in order to have confidence, they need to win every single trade. I got to win all the time. I got to have a 90% hit rate. I got to have an 80% hit rate. I'm a really good trader. I run a 60 to 70% hit rate. You know what I mean? But I get 4R out of all my winners. I only lose 1R on my losers. So it balances in my favor significantly by the time we're done. And that's why I have confidence. I don't have confidence because I'm going to win this trade or lose this trade. I have no idea, right? I just know exactly how I'm going to manage it. And because of that, I don't really get as many like jitters as I used to get back in the day. And then, of course, being very, very aware of your system, your entry signals, really know it like the back of your head. And if you do those things, or your back of your hand, if you do those things well, then the jitters will abate it a bit. I got another one for you too, but I'm gonna let Pierre go in on that one too. Yeah, but I got more. But I can talk about that all day.
No. I agree with you 100% there. Just being comfortable with the reality of the market and accepting the risk, knowing that the market is super random, every moment is unique. Just changing those beliefs is really going to help you. But if I can bring another thing that I do before the market open that really helps me, it's all about heart rate regulation. So I have there's a lot of application you can use out there that will really help you to regulate your heart rate. And basically what is that doing is that you're switching from a sympathetic nervous system to dorsal. So that's gonna really help you be more calm when the market open. So it's just a little thing I do 5 minutes before the market open is basically respiration exercise. And details like that seems like nothing, but the impact it's gonna have on your trading is huge.
What type of respiration exercise do you do? Like deep breath,
So
hold, kind of a thing?
the app is called Respire. It's in French, but basically it's 5 second breathe in, 5 second breathe out, and that's mixed with a certain sound that have some vibration on it in it, and it's really helping you to calm yourself and basically to change your nervous system, because usually trading brings you back to a sympathetic nervous system, which is a kind of sympathetic nervous system where you feel like you have danger in front of you and you're more anxious and everything.
It's like that fight or flight kind of situation, right?
Exactly. Well, sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight nervous system.
Yeah.
So, and it's something really powerful because we
good decisions when you're
exactly,
like ramped
exactly.
like that.
Exactly, and we're able to control in what nervous system we want to be, and it's super powerful. That really helped me with my trading, definitely.
So the other thing I'm going to put onto the back side of that just one more time. Hey, look at Nvidia at 124 right now. On the back side of that, also keep this in mind, and this is going to be the part you're going to like the least out of this conversation. What he actually said, the word comfortable, and that's kind of the word I like to use, but it's the word uncomfortable, right? Part of being a day trader is you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That is the penance that you're going to pay as a day trader to be a good day trader. Everything has every occupation that makes you good money is going to have a sacrifice or something you're going to have to give to it that will almost be like your punishment that you have to endure in order to reap the benefit you want. It's kind of like getting in shape. You got to go running, right? Running stinks. Running's not fun before you run. It's not fun while you run. It's not fun after you run. There's no part of running. Anyone who says running's fun is psycho. I run 3 times a week, by the way, but never at any point am I out there running around going, oh man, this is just like the most fun I've ever had in my life. You know what I mean? I'm running now. This is hard. But the uncomfortable part of it, I know that because of that, I'm going to have longevity of life. I am too. You know what I'm saying, Rand? You get the runner's high. You know what I mean? You can get the runner's high, which is kind of nice. But I mean, it's just you really got to get into a space with it. So it's but it's uncomfortable. And the more comfortable you can get with being uncomfortable, the better you're going to do. And that's trading, right? Trading is uncomfortable waiting for your trades. It's uncomfortable in your trades, and it's uncomfortable while you're holding your trades. And I just shorted SPY off of R3, and we're in this thing now. Let's go. It looked like we were topped out, and Nvidia was rolling over. So did one of those Feds start speaking? I bet a Fed started speaking.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to tell you, Tor, that I'm trading against you, but I short Amazon there.
Get it. Get that money. Look, you can see here I'm short. I shorted the NQ when it looked like we were rolling. I'm short here. I just threw my stop up here above the previous daily level. So that big. So I'm actually playing against myself right now, for the record. So hey, one of these will work. It's like a hedge play almost. How can you tell if shooting for a profit 0.4 hour away is realistic or not? So for me, it's if it requires you to go outside the range. So for instance, like if it's a wide range and you're going short at R3 and then you have to go through S4 in order to get there, especially if it's a higher range where you don't expect to go through the S levels. You know what I mean? That's one of those ones where you may not want to take that trade because you would require the stock to do something it's unlikely to do in order for you to hit your profit target, which if you're going for fixed risk targets is something you have to be a little sensitive to. It probably happens to me once or twice a week now, which has become more and more annoying every time it happens. But it's an occupational hazard right now to holding for long targets, is having something get within 5 cents to 10 cents of your target, having it and then run the other direction and go for a full stop. I've had that happen maybe like a dozen times in the past like few months, and I had never had that happen in my life because I was partialing or going out at break even, right? So now that I just kind of hold, right, I'm taking more stops now. But on Monday I had a 12-hour day. On Tuesday I had a 3-hour day, 1 win, 1 loss, and then on Wednesday I had like a 20-hour day yesterday. So but those big days were never possible in my old methodology for trading, where I was really just being too sensitive as far as my holds and price movements. So I just wasn't getting the profit when I needed it.
And I'm sure the fact of not partialing is really helping you be comfortable, like you were saying, with the risk.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah,
you
I
know
mean, knowing
exactly
how control.
either it works or not.
Yeah, it makes it. You're 100% right. The thing is funny enough, we call it like the where, when, and the how is like the trifecta, right? You got to know where, when, and you got to know how. But in order of importance, it really is the how, then the when, then the where. If managing your trade properly is more important than when you take it is more important than where you take it, and where you take it is very, very important, right? So but you have to always remember how you manage your position. Most traders who fail trading will fail in the management side of trading, which is ironic because it's actually the easiest part. Like if you go to work with someone to program a computer to trade for you, the easiest thing that person could do, if they're a decent programmer, in about 5 minutes would be to sit down and actually program out the risk management strategy, right? That takes 5 minutes because it's all math, right? But actually when to take the trade or where you want to take that trade from, like when you see that VPA signal at the location, that's the part that computers can't do very easily, right? So, and that's where day traders have an edge, is our ability to actually read the market's movement in a dynamic way. So, but it's very interesting to kind of see that going on. But you're right, since I fixed the how, basically, I don't have to even, it doesn't even matter what brain state I'm in. You know what I mean? There's only one way I manage. So even if I do get caught a little off guard, you know what I mean? It's, and get thrown into that lizard brain. You know what I mean? I'm not as put out by it because of the management, which, thank goodness for that. I save many a bad day just by having good management. We got 350 likes. We're not doing too bad. 350 likes. That's not bad considering, it's just us boring, rangy type traders in here. One guy long Amazon, one guy trying to short and take him out of his Amazon position. So
nothing
rude.
personal there.
I think we could get
I'm
to
taking
400.
I'm taking it personal. I'm filing. I would file a complaint, but according to Peter, I have to hand deliver it. And I'm in Florida and he's in Canada. So, it's a long walk and it's starting to snow. So I probably won't get my complaint put in until probably next year, maybe around spring. So you're okay.
It doesn't snow that early in Ottawa. Come on.
Unbelievable. It's all right. It's like the other day it was like 70 degrees and I was like, oh man, it's getting cold here. This isn't good.
Fahrenheit user.
Fahrenheit.
Get back. Get on the metric system.
C word. You guys use that C word. I want units of measure that are based upon things as interesting as a thumb. You know what I mean? I just want how big do you want an inch to be? I don't know, around that big length. What do you think about that? Sounds good. All right. Monarchs.
Nice, Anthony. See, Anthony took that same term as I did on Amazon. Who else in the chat room cut that move short on Amazon at S4?
So this is why mine turned around, because you and the entire chat room conspired against me. I see how it is. How dare you?
Well, that was my game
Whiz,
plan
right?
since the morning on Amazon. I would have
It
expected
really
to
was.
see it earlier in the morning. It happened later, but still worked out pretty good.
But that was the play we were. I mean, when we discussed right at the open, that was what we discussed was the pullback up to S4 for the short on the S4. So I was hoping I would get a bigger out of this grab, and I was right about the grab. Just didn't get enough distance for me to get to my target. So I'm gonna be out on a Camarilla. They're all accurate, Anoop, but Camarilla is my favorite.
That's one of the things I really like with the cams. I like that even before the day start, you really have like a clear game plan. You know exactly where you want to take your trade, and you can just be patient and let the price come to you to the zone where you're interested in buying or shorting. That's the thing I really like about the way this system works.
You know, you're saying all the right things, and I like it. If only someone wrote a book. Oh, well, now that you mention it. No, okay. Sorry. Super inappropriate. That was subtle. It was a subtle. Thank you, Gabrielle. It was subtle. I know. Subtle and shameless. So Matthew and YouTube, the general rule when using cams the way I do is long above the fours, short below the fours. So the fourth level is kind of the delineation point, basically the line in the sand, if you will, between your buying areas and your selling areas. So if you got to pick a line somewhere, might as well pick that one, right? So so what happens is when you're above S4, depending on the range, I'm out of Amazon, by the way. The break even. News event changed this thing. I am still short ES, by the way. So let's go trending breakdown. Let's see if I can get to this ES target. That'd be really nice. Look at that. Look at that. We made that low there. Look how we started to sell. Look at Amazon go now. Woo!
Yeah, and the order book
there you
is
go.
really,
Where's
really
your
bearish
target?
here. Yeah. I just took my first partial pretty much there at
I was going to say, you got to be pretty
181,
close with that entry. You've got to be about at something now.
Yeah, I just took my first partial there at 4R. We'll see if we can break low of the day. I see a lot of buyers down there, so I think we have
If
more
we break
downside.
low of day, statistically things get very nice for you very quickly.
For the initial balance of an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're gonna lose. If you can get under here and close and move lower in that hour, and Amazon, like many of the tech tickers, rarely bounces back up through its high if it breaks its low around that time period. So we're kind of in an interesting moment here. So it consolidate maybe for the next 10 minutes, and then if it breaks down hard, I mean, it's going to be great. Let's see here.
Well, there's a big buyer at 181.
Amazon's next like really big support area that we had to buy through in last month was we had to buy through a seller that was at basically 180, maybe a little lower. Yeah, let's just call it 180 just for a general area. You can see kind of last month we wicked into that order on the daily multiple times, and then we went through it on one day, back tested it, and then ran like crazy. So it must be at like around 180 must be where the big institutional block's at. And that gives you a lot of downside room still if it runs for that.
Yeah, 180 is definitely in play for today. What's the ATR on Amazon?
Amazon's ATR is 4.17. So just call it 4.25. So that's 179. 170 to 179, plenty of downside room. So that's where the IB information really comes in handy, right? Because if it breaks the low more often than it does both, or if it breaks one more often than both, and I can actually pull edge full data on it on Amazon. For those of you in BBT, you can see my edge full. So I'll run. Let's go with it's IB. Let's see. whoops, hold on, wrong one. And this is on Amazon. You just want like last 6 months, probably good enough. So Amazon breaks at 97 out of the past 127 days. It has only broken one side of its IB. So you're talking about if it breaks its low of day after 10:30, then you are going to settle somewhere on that side 3/4 of the time. So if you're short from S4, which you are, and it breaks the low, the chances of it going all the way back up through S4 and then breaking is significantly lower than it just stays where it's at or moves lower. And then if you look at Amazon's daily chart, you can see it has lots of engulfing candles. So it kind of makes sense. Most often when Amazon finally picks a direction, it tends to do it. So
gives you more confidence.
The most recent news was Fed news, I think. Was the Fed started speaking. The info, for those of you out there in YouTube Landia, it's a web program I use called Edgeful. It's a pretty sweet program. I actually did a webinar on it in the BBT room just recently, and go through all these. It's a really cool reporting system. It allows you to run. You can look at you can run everything from ATR to how often a good report's like gap fill. You can see how often tickers fill their gaps, which is, if your price opens, the gap is the distance between your open price at 9:30 and previous day's close. Most tickers fill that gap more often than not. So like for instance, SPY, I think fills that gap 70 or 80% of the time, I think. So it's like if the SPY opens gapped up, you go short on the SPY. Why? Because the SPY fills its gap the vast majority of the time. Right. So then you do what Pierre does. We use that knowledge and then combine that with making sure we're in the right selling range, right? Or we're the right buying range based upon the way that info goes. If he compares a 5-minute ORB, let's say it's at S3, higher range. It was higher yesterday, so we've gapped down and now he's buying. He does an opening range break. That's a no-brainer. He won't have that trade tested probably the entire day because it's going to buy right out of a buying range and it's going to fill a gap. So he'll hit targets long before he gets retested, kind of like his short on Amazon, actually. Once it got up to his area, I doubt he endured a single retest once he got in because he probably got up in near 183.25. So if he did, then, or somewhere up in there, then it's, probably didn't have to endure too much waiting around. So which is ideal. I got long at at the floor level, took me almost an hour to move the distance Pierre got in like 5 minutes because he's selling in a selling range where I'm buying through a selling range, which is why he's doing it better.
In that case.
Yeah. Hey, it's good, man. That's the thing. I love trading, man. I have no ego when I trade at all. It's a system and the system works. I prefer to see the system work properly than to see me make money off of it in an improper way. So I love seeing it come up to S4 and do that sell like that. And I saw it and I was like, man, this can happen. That's why I did break even. So I like it. I'm still holding short here. We're doing all right.
With that,
you're short with
sorry,
futures,
guys.
right?
Yep.
Oh, I have Eamon coming up soon.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all those in between, we have a really fun treat for you. Every single day, one of the reasons why you want to come by and hang out here at the in the BBT room is that we get to pull you in some cool people and some cool information and stuff like that. We got our man Eamon coming on. Great trader, been doing this for a half a decade plus and really knows his stuff. So I hope you all enjoy that. Should be a lot of fun. So we'll make way for Eamon here in a minute. Pierre, Bud, Ben, what an absolute pleasure trading with you this morning, even though you conspired with the entire room to stop me out of a position. Super inappropriate. I know who you all are, and I will be reaching out later. But otherwise, I hope everyone had a great trading day, and we'll see you all on later.
No, and Tord, all the pleasure is mine, and I'm looking forward for the next time we have to trade together.
Thank you, buddy. I'll see you next time.
All right. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Hey, Eamon, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'll let you take it away.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you. And hello, YouTube. Hello, chatroom. Hope you all had an amazing day. Tor and Pierre are amazing traders, and I think you had some fun there. Today, I will talk shortly about an interesting topic, the difference between the fake breakout and the retest. I've had this question being asked to me so many times in the last few weeks. I talked about it in the group mentoring session that I have with my mentees and people who purchase my course. And by the way, talking about that, today at 5 p.m. Eastern, there will be a free webinar for everyone. I'll be talking there about multiple time frame analysis and a lot of details about range trading, fake breakouts, retests, and improving your win rate using the knowledge that I have. Don't forget to join me. Anyway, let's get into the topic. What's the difference between a fake breakout and between a retest? It's tough to tell that, but there are some hints that could help you identify whether it's a fake breakout or a retest. The first thing I do is I try to build a bias. I build a bias based on the daily chart and based on the 60-minute chart, and I'm going to try and explain the difference using some examples from some of the trades that I have taken. Looking at PFE around here, I can see that on the daily chart, there is some sort of a channel sitting around here. And we're sitting exactly at the low of the channel. You know how channels are traded. Closer to the low, people buy. Closer to the high, people short. So my bias in general is to play this stock to the long side. I try to find an accurate level based on the 60-minute chart, and there it is, a good level at 25.26. I want to play PFE to the long side based on what I see on the daily chart, and I see the level on the 60-minute chart at 25.26. Now market opens and the stock breaks to the downside, and people are asking themselves a question: is it a fake breakout, or are we going to trend to the downside? What's my bias? My bias is to play the stock to the long side. So if I see that the stock broke to the downside, I would instantly think of it as if it's a fake breakout. I would not be playing it to the short side. And if the stock recovers into the level, I'm not going to think of this level as a retest level. And I'm not going to play it to the short side from this area. I would wait for it to fully recover inside. That is the level, and will fully recover inside. And then I'd be looking for a long opportunity. On the other hand, if the stock breaks into the direction of the bias like this, look at this. Same thing, we're sitting at the low of the range. We are long biased. I identify the level on the 60-minute chart. We are long biased. The stock breaks this mini range to the upside, and we are long biased. What would I think of this breakout? Would I think of it as a fake break or as an actual breakout? Personally, I would think of it as an actual breakout. And if we get back inside the range or closer to the level, I would think of it as a retest and not as a fake breakout. In the previous example, if we break and we recover, I would not play it to the long side because the break happened against the direction of the overall bias. In this particular case, since the breakout happened into the direction of the overall bias, the drop to the downside means that this here is not a fake breakout, and this around here is actually a retest that I can play. This way you could help yourself survive a lot of chops. A lot of traders, especially beginner traders, they draw a level, they wait for the price to break the level, and then at the pullback, they think of it as a retest. They try buying the retest for a trend continuation. If you can differentiate between breakouts and fake breakouts, you'll be able to tell yourself whether you want to play the retests or you want to play the fake break into the overall direction or into the overall bias. Let me show you another example around here. PLTR. I want to play it to the long side based on the daily chart because we are trending and we're making higher highs and higher lows. I identify the zone on the 60-minute chart where I want to play the stock to. I take a look intraday and I see that intraday we're forming another range. Now look at this, how I combine the information of retests and breaks, but on different time frames. There is a range around here on the 5-minute chart. We break this range around here. Let me zoom it in and make it more clear to you. There it is. There is the range around here, and we are breaking this range around here. The stock gets back down into the range. What's our bias? Our bias is to play the stock to the long side. Since our bias is to play the stock to the long side, we do not want to short it around here, and we do not want to consider this one as a fake break. I would actually consider this pullback around here as a retest. And I would use this information to add to my long position that I already have established somewhere around the low of the range. Take a look at this one. There is the level around here. There is the level around here, and I am long biased. What happens around here? We break the level to the downside. Would I think of it as a fake breakout or as a retest? Since we broke the level against the direction of the trend, I would consider it a fake breakout, and I would not be shorting it here. See, this is the level. We broke the level. Some people would think that this is a retest. They would short it around here for the trend, but no, this is a fake breakout. And in fact, you want to play it into the opposite direction, into the direction of the trend. This is it, guys. In short, that's what I can share with you in around 7 to 10 minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot them here in the chat. If not, I will try to explain some of these things in more detail today in my webinar at 5 p.m. Eastern. Can you please explain CAN pivots? Unfortunately, I don't trade pivot points. In my charts, I don't have them. They are a useful tool. I know a lot of traders are using it. I know Thor is nailing it with pivot points, but I'm not the best one to help you with Camarilla pivot points. Air is asking how to sign up for that webinar. If you are subscribed to our newsletter, there should have been a link sent to everyone where you can join that webinar. If you are not, feel free to email me, ayman@bearbultraders.com, and I will send you the link. How do you know we should be long or short bias? That's why we use multiple time frame analysis, chess motives. I take a look at the daily chart and the 60-minute chart to see where the market is headed. For example, if there is a range on the daily chart, we know that statistically closer to the low of the range, we need to watch the stock to the long side, and statistically closer to the high of the range, we want to watch the stock to the short side. If the price, for example, breaks this range or breaks this channel, you know that now we are in a trending phase. So I'm generally long biased. If the price is overextended and we had 5 or 6 or 7 days in a row to the upside, you can tell that the price needs to pull back. So in this particular case, I'd be short biased on this particular day. So I build my bias based on the daily chart. Then I find the level around the 60-minute chart. Then I use the 1-minute chart and the 5-minute chart for an entry. How often do you trade these channels and how often do you find these opportunities? It depends on the market conditions. The current market is really good for channels and for range plays because there is no clear trend and we're stuck in a large chop. If I open my watch list for today, you could see how the daily chart looks like, right? On most of the stocks that I'm watching, we are just chopping around and we are just sitting and trending sideways. Let me just make the daily chart bigger. There it is. If you take a look at ASTS, it's the same thing. AMD, almost the same thing. CAN, the same thing. We're just sitting now in a ranging market. So right now, I would say that there are a lot of opportunities to play channels and to play ranges. After we break and after the market starts trending, we'll have a lot of opportunities for ABCD patterns, breakouts, trend continuations, momentums, etc.
Amen.
So
We have a
there is
few
no fixed time. It
questions
depends.
in the BPT chat room as well.
Let me take a look at them. Thank you for the reminder. Can you tell me what was the first question? Because I probably missed it and I did not scroll it down.
Here's one from Vlad. We'll do your key to buy and sell. Do you have auto stop loss and take profit in it? That's a question from
Good.
Vlad.
Thank you. So I use the equalize the risk hotkeys. These are the hotkeys that automatically calculate our share size. I double click on the chart where I want my stop loss to be, and it automatically calculates my share size based on the dollar risk amount that I have input there. I always use hard stop losses. If the price dumps into my stop loss, I'll get stopped out. And my target is different depending on the setup that I play. For example, if I play a channel, I would usually target at least the middle of the channel.
Okay, let's take one more question. From Pop Pop, just to clarify, a break against the direction is a fake breakout, and a breakout with the direction is a legitimate breakout. Is that correct? So you just want some clarification.
That is correct. Yeah, that is correct. But remember, this is a market and anything can happen. Sometimes the stock can break against the direction of the buyers. And if that happens and it trends, it's still a possibility. But it's a possibility that could happen with a less percentage likelihood. As day traders, we need to have an edge. And our edge based on backtesting, or my edge based on backtesting, is telling me that a breakout against the direction of the trend is a fake breakout. A breakout into the direction of the trend is a legitimate breakout. There is still that percentage where this theory will be wrong. And for that, we have max loss for the day. And for that, we need to know when we need to stop. For me personally, it's 2 attempts. If I try 2 times and I fail 2 times, I'm done.
Great, that's great information. And I'll let you plug your webinar again, because if people want to learn more and ask you more questions, that would be a great place to do it.
Amazing. All right, guys. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for attending. It's a pleasure talking to you as always. And I'll talk to you probably sometime later during this one. Bye, guys.